Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. It has attracted more than 11 million visitors, employs more than 400, has a dedicated core of more than 2,000 volunteers. It's a leading facility for aquatic animal conservation and research. It has developed a state-of-the-art animal health facility occupying some 10,000 square feet, designed by world-class veterinarian professionals and conservation organizations. On a global scale, it supports, conducts, and leads research on environmental and conservation issues, all while promoting fun and enjoyable learning experiences as it instills in its guests a new appreciation for the world's aquatic biodiversity, while enhancing Georgia's tourism offerings and providing local residents the world-class entertainment attraction it has quickly become. That's right, it is now the anchor for downtown Atlanta's revival efforts, being a benefit to both the city and the state. Greetings, everyone. It's Friday, January 17, 2014, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Up to the Tech Talk, a rare insight into the innovative technologies as well as interactive, interdisciplinary techniques that are being utilized by the Georgia Aquarium as we speak with Beach M. Clark, Jr., Vice President, Information Technology, Georgia Aquarium. Beach has lived in Atlanta for most of his life. He's a graduate of North Springs High and later earned a degree in philosophy from William and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia. After working for several years in the hospitality industry as a manager of a hotel and restaurant properties, he returned to Georgia State University to get a master's degree in accounting. Soon after completion, he took a position with Anderson Consulting, where he began his career in IT. While at Anderson, he worked with clients in a number of industries, including healthcare, telecommunications, technology, finance, manufacturing, all specializing in the implementation of advanced technical solutions. Home Depot recruited Beach in '91 to design and implement their network architecture. Over the next 12 years at Home Depot, he managed a number of functions in networking application development and technical support. He joined the team at the Georgia Aquarium in July of 2004 as VP Information Technology, where today his responsibilities are heading all technological implementation and ongoing operations at the aquarium. Well, on a visit to the aquarium, surely you will experience amazing exhibits. But what you may not be aware of is the amazing technology that makes it all work. How does the aquarium determine technology needs to enable the organization to handle tens of thousands of visitors daily and to continue to run smooth operations to deliver a positive experience for its employees, its visitors, and, well, its aquatic guests? It's a rare look behind the exhibits as we dive into the technology behind the scenes at the Georgia Aquarium with its VP Information Technology, Beach M. Clark. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Beach, welcome to Tech Talk.
Glad to be here, Frank.
I think pretty much every one of our listeners quite possibly have already been to the aquarium, but certainly are aware of the incredible impact that it's had, both in quality of life and in exciting entertainment and even prestige and image as far as the city and the state is concerned. I want to kind of explore something that I think a lot of our listeners would be interested in that we really don't get an opportunity to hear much about, and that's sort of the technology that's involved with the aquarium. Now, first off, it's only been, and it's pretty remarkable, it seems like it's been forever, but it's only been since 2005 that the aquarium started. But what was the top priority for the aquarium from a technology standpoint from the time you opened your doors?
That's a good question, Frank. And I think I would start with, kind of our mission or our top priority for the aquarium. Mm-hmm. And that's been to be the world's most magical aquarium experience. And so in order to be able to do that, we have to make sure that every guest that comes through the doors walks away with a really sort of a magical feeling. So beyond that, all of our technology is really focused on that. So, and that obviously encompasses a broad range of technology, from the technology that takes care of the fish, the animals, to make sure that they're in absolutely the best environment that they can be in, to the people who manage the crowds when we have our very crowded days, to the people that keep the aquarium clean, to information that we provide to management about how we're doing, covers a broad range. So really everything is focused on making sure that guest experience is the absolute best experience that we can provide.
I'm going to put you on the spot, but if it's something that you really don't want to get too much detail into, but I think our listeners would really be interested in hearing, when you talk about what you make it sound so simple, but the reality of the situation, it's got to be an absolute, an amazing set of infrastructure that goes in. What would be some of the things from a technology standpoint that our listeners might find like, my gosh, I had no idea it was, because one of the things I'm sure as a visitor, it's ubiquitous. You don't really know or see what's really going on around you. Like, for example, I'm guessing the monitoring of the environment for the animals themselves.
Some of the technology, you're right, is not visible, and some is. Maybe the way to ease into this is talk about some of the technology that is visible. We really start with our website. We try to make it as easy to schedule a visit to the aquarium as possible. We have a planning part of the website that allows people to get an idea of what they're going to do when they get here. It can be anywhere from a 2.5 to a 3.5 or 4 hour experience, to let them pre-select their entry times and buy their tickets in advance, even to get, take care of lunch before they come. When they get here, the scanning technology that allows them to come in to the building without much, without any wait, is also part of the technology. Once they're inside, a lot of the, we have digital displays throughout the aquarium to let them know about things like what time we're going to be feeding the animals in the various galleries, because that's something that everybody's always interested in doing, to letting them know about interactive experiences that they can have while they're here, like an interactive experience with our dolphins or our belugas or our otters or our penguins. So there's quite just downright, fun kind of stuff, like the music that plays and the lights that are on and all that kind of stuff. So that's all stuff that the guests can see. But you also mentioned, things that they can't see that really do contribute to their experience. And, you can start with the monitoring that goes on. We have about 60 visible displays and about 95 other aquariums within our larger aquarium that all have to be monitored for things like water temperature and the amount of oxygen in the water clarity, the water temperature, the water level, the water flow, all kinds of things to make sure that all of our animals are happy and healthy and feeling as good as they can. And that's done with technology from a vendor that really specializes in that kind of technology. Something else that probably isn't visible to guests, but which is critically important, is our personnel scheduling software that makes sure that we have just the right amount of people available to help our guests at all the times. And that's, scheduling the people in the call center, to scheduling people who actually sell the tickets and take the money, to making sure that throughout the aquarium we have docents available to answer questions and to engage with people who want to learn more about the animals or more about what goes into running an aquarium on a daily basis.
Well, let's go
all the way down.
Go ahead.
All the way down to the people that actually make sure that there's plenty of paper towels in the bathroom.
That's important. That's or can be at certain times. Well, let's get into. I almost want to use a cliche. Let's dive deeper, as they say in technology. But let's go in a little bit further about that whole subject about workforce management. Obviously, one of the things that's coming clear from the discussion is the flow of the visitors and smoothing out the operation to make sure that everyone has a positive experience is the result. But to get to that result, when you're talking about it's such a complex facility with the dynamics that you're describing, let's talk a little bit about workforce management and the kind of technology that you're using. You mentioned a vendor. Can you go into a little bit of that?
Sure. We use software from a company, Barrett. It's a tailored workforce management solution to the attraction industry, although I think they actually handle other industries as well. I know their software works for call centers in a variety of industries. But if you can think about an attraction like ours, we have days when there will be over 15,000 people who come through our doors, and there'll be days when we have as few as 1,500 people come through our doors. So with basically a 10x variability in the number of people that are coming, it's important for us to have the right amount of people available on those days. So we basically want to be able to, number one, we want to be able to forecast how many people are coming, and the Variant software does that for us. So it helps us develop our forecast for how many people are going to be there each day. It looks at our historical attendance over the past. We basically look 3 years back. So look at.
So you've been dealing with big data and preference analytics before. That was really cool, because more or less.
Yeah, I think you could say that. Absolutely. So we look back 3 years at our attendance. Our software looks at things like vacations and what days are weekends and what days are school are going to be in and out and all that kind of stuff, and generates a pretty accurate forecast for us. So, and then based on that forecast, we have all the different positions that need to be staffed, and a lot of those are, sensitive to how many guests are coming. A good example of the ones that are most sensitive when the guests are coming are our point of sale windows, where we can have up to 6 people working point of sale, but on a 1,500 person day, frankly, we don't need 6 people. Same thing is true for people that are coming, getting their tickets scanned. On a 15,000 day, as you can imagine, we need a lot more people doing that than we do on a 1,500 person day. So
that's amazing. So again, and I mentioned preference analytics and the idea of making decisions a whole lot easier simply because of the historic relevance. You've got a whole system from almost source to consumption that monitors the day and the day parts from a historic standpoint, but then also looks at current information like scheduling and that kind of thing, and then it keeps the system alerted. Is that basically what we're saying?
Absolutely. We look at historical information. We build our schedule based on historical information. Then we're also able to look at actual performance. So who showed up for their shifts, or I guess it's rare that somebody wouldn't, but who didn't show up for their shift, and it gives the people who are actually building the schedules a great tool to work with to identify which people have the right skills to do which sorts of jobs. You can imagine it's a very different set of skills that's needed to sell tickets versus the set of skills that's needed to stand outside and direct people to the appropriate lines, or to engage with guests on the floor to tell them about the animal. So our managers have the set of tools available to help them build a schedule around the skills of the people that are available to do the work, and also to have at their fingertips who's available on what particular day, who has vacations, what are the employees' preferences in terms of working full 8-hour shifts or part shifts or shifts on the weekends or shifts in the afternoon versus the morning. All that kind of stuff is able to be accounted for in one place to basically have easy access to all that information.
Would it be naive to say there's like a mission control center? Is there an internal center that keeps almost like a flight center kind of thing that keeps track of all the, or is it just individual and under management by way of the structure of the organization?
There is the Variant software is what you basically call that sort of mission critical or the brains of the organization.
But it's not cloud, right?
It's an application that is that allows everyone who needs access to the information to access it.
Okay.
And in fact, it actually has online capabilities to allow volunteers and stuff like that to sign up for shifts.
Does it work with mobile devices? Is that part of it as well? Smartphones or something?
We don't use it that way, so I couldn't really speak to it.
Okay. Now let's talk about direct and indirect results. I think that obviously when you talk about something like that, direct results is that you don't have chaos. You've got a pretty slick organization that moves with an ebb and flow where everybody's happy, everybody is in their place, and the visitors, like we were saying before, kind of gets a seamless, ubiquitous experience that makes it extremely satisfactory. But maybe go into is there any indirect effects that have happened from implementing the workforce management?
Well, I would say, first of all, to kind of expand on the direct effects, what we're looking for is to make sure that we always have the right people in the right places. So, kind of one way to do that is to just have a whole lot of people available all the time. The problem with that is it's expensive. So, what we want to do is have the right people at the right time and not have a whole bunch of people just standing around doing nothing when we're not busy. So, that's one of the important things. And that really kind of leads into morale, which is probably one of those sort of unexpected benefits. Being able to schedule people, it's kind of obvious that you'd like to be able to take into consideration their preferences, and certainly that's something that workforce management allows us to do. But I guess more importantly, even from personal experience, having the right amount of people in place at the right time is also important. It can be just as distracting to have too many people working as it can be to have not enough. Obviously, if you have not enough, then it's very stressful because our guests wind up, wanting to ask a question and not being able to. So people are surrounded by, lots and lots of guests, and that's frustrating for both the guests and our associates. By the same token, having too many people around winds up with people who, aren't fully engaged, and that's also an issue. So I'd say that probably the biggest sort of unexpected benefit is that you wind up having a workforce who feel more engaged, both from a standpoint of feeling like their preferences are being taken into account, and that we actually are thinking about them when we're doing the scheduling. And that carries all the way through to their feeling of satisfaction of doing a job the best way they can.
So just to cut to the chase, the bottom line of it is it predicts and forecasts attendance. It schedules the staffs into the departments, and then the last part is that it's got the capability of dealing with variables that provide, I think, a standard of service, world-class standard of service, and also happens to keep the bottom line pretty tight because it's got the efficiencies are built into it. It's pretty. Am I missing anything?
Absolutely. It's a double-edged sword. We want world-class service. We're proud of the fact that we've, in our TripAdvisor reviews and everything else, we, for the most part, get absolutely top ratings for guest experience, and that's important. But we're also running a business, so we want to make sure that, we're running a very efficient and effective operation.
Well, one last question, and we're unfortunately running out of time. I'm absolutely intrigued by the level of sophistication, complexity, and yet, again, as any professional, you make it sound no problem. We've got it all under control. So hats off to you, because when I've gone and had my kids and grandkids go with me, it's just an absolute pleasure and an amazement to experience the whole adventure. Let's talk just real quickly an insight. The insight is next couple of years, what's going to happen, if you want to talk about the entertainment field in general or at your aquarium specifically, from a technology standpoint.
I think one of the things that, is true of the attraction industry is that we're always looking for what's the next big thing. The world's changing. There's a lot being offered to people who just stay home. If you look at the gaming industry, if you look at professional sports, pretty much anything, the world is changing. So what's ahead for us really is being an attraction that really depends, that's for people who want to get out and enjoy. We have to be competitive with the types of entertainment that can be done from inside the home. And in order to do that, we've got to always be sensitive to changing interests amongst people, and that really means having our people be ready for that. So that's, it's training, and once again, it's going to come back to, kind of understanding the dynamics of how our people work with the guests that come here. So, I really see that as being a kind of a long-term challenge for people in our industry. There will always be people who want to get out and have a good time. At least I hope so. I don't think as a kind of humanity is going to be locked up indoors, but you really bring up a solid point, without a question. If you have so many experiences at your home. And why would you want to face the complexities or the risk of security and all the kind of things that go down? But the other side of it is that it does make it something that, from an innovation and creative standpoint, one of the things we talk a lot about here is the fact that everything's the same, only different. And what we often will say, depending on the vertical, doesn't matter whether it's financial technology or healthcare, everything's being impacted by clouds, impacted by high-speed connectivity, mobile devices. The intensity of truly the convergence of what can happen from an enterprise, private sector standpoint is one thing. When you talk about entertainment, what a fascinating opportunity and a fascinating challenge. Beach, a pretty exciting spot you find yourself in. Congratulations. I know the reputation and the credit that goes to that you every day almost you hear something good about the aquarium, and it's done so much from just the resurgence of downtown and in the metropolitan area, but I think also it's reflected good on the entire region, the South and overall, and of course it's even got international reputation. Beach, I know you're busy. Thank you so much for taking time to give us a little bit of a behind the scenes as to what goes on at the aquarium, and thank you for taking your time to be on Tech Talk today. Great, Frank. I enjoyed talking with you.